Hello friends, welcome to IITN's GATE classes. We are Bangalore-based institute and we run classes for almost all the branches. This year we have switched to our online classes. For instrumentation engineering, I am going to take the full series of lectures. We have already started our first lecture. We have started a crash course for our instrumentation students, for our INE batch students, and the lectures will be recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, that is IITN Skate classes. First lecture is already uploaded. You can go to YouTube and you can watch that particular video. So today we are going to start the second lecture of this series. The second lecture is static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor. The first lecture we have started with the introduction to the instrumentation system. So if you have not watched that lecture, please feel free to watch that lecture. So then it will be easy for you to understand the series of the lectures, right? So today we will study static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor. So before we are going to study the second lecture, let's recall what we have studied in the last lecture. So in the last lecture, we started with the introduction and where we have seen few examples of the sensors. And the main points that we have studied in the last lecture was what is the instrumentation system, what all elements are there in the instrumentation system, what is the purpose of instrumentation system, and what is the block diagram and how we can correlate this block diagram with the particular example. So we have taken three examples. The first itself here it is mentioned temperature measurement using RTD. RTD is the resistive temperature detector. It is used to measure the it is used to measure the change in temperature and provides the output as change in resistance. We have taken few other examples like temperature measurement using thermocouple. We have taken one more example, that is weight measurement system, right? So what we have studied in the last lecture is block diagram. So here we have taken the first sensor as RTD and this is going to be sensor. It will sense, since this is RTD, so it will sense change in temperature, change in temperature delta T. It will provide change in resistance, that is delta R. These things we have already studied in the last lecture. Just I'm trying you to recap the what we have studied in the last lecture. We have taken the next block as Wheatstone rays because we want this change in resistance to be converted to a suitable quantity, and the suitable quantity could be voltage or either could be current. So this all current we used to prefer, but anyway voltage or current is good. So we have used our Wheatstone rays just to convert our change in resistance to the change in voltage, and we got here a change in voltage. We have also observed in the last class that this change in voltage was the strength was low. Here though we are able to convert this change in resistance to the change in voltage, but this strength was low, so we were not able to process it further. So before we can process it, we have to increase its strength. So we have used the op-amp as the signal conditioning circuit. This is also signal conditioning circuit, but this op-amp we have used to amplify the strength of this output voltage, right? So with the particular op-amp, we have amplified this output voltage and we got some voltage which is good in strength to be processed. So no further signal conditioning is needed. Our signal is already in a good condition to be processed. This is the meaning of signal conditioning circuit. The signal conditioning circuit is a circuit that is used to make the signal in a condition for further processing, right? If the strength is good, if it is in a suitable format, then we can say that signal is already in a good condition for processing. Okay, what we have seen apart from this is that we have used our signal processing circuit because ultimately we want, what is the aim? Ultimately the aim is to convert our physical variable into a known standard such that we can measure, we can monitor, and we can control a process. Which process? The process could be anything. Like here we have taken the example of process as temperature measurement. There could be anything that we can measure, like it would be temperature, pressure, flow, velocity, viscosity, ps, conductivity, many more, right? Okay, so this is what we have studied in the last lecture. Now today lecture we will study what are the static and dynamic characteristics of the sensor. In today's lecture, we will focus mainly on static or steady state characteristics. In the next lecture, we will study dynamic characteristics in great details, right? So what is static or steady state? The name itself, this is self-explanatory definition. Static or steady state characteristics. Steady state. Steady state means what? Means input is varying slowly, means input is varying very slowly, or you can say that the input is mostly constant. Okay, so now in order to understand this, so basically characteristics of the sensors are falls in are categorized into two categories. One is static characteristics and another is the dynamic characteristics. On what basis we are characterizing into these two categories? So the basis is going to be how sensor is responding to the change in input. How sensor is responding to change in input, right? And how the sensor is responding to the particular change in input and providing the output. So in static or steady state characteristics, the input is almost steady. The input is almost steady. So you can say that it's varying very slowly with respect to time, or the input is mostly constant only, right? But in the case of dynamic characteristics, the input is varying very fast, right? So in that scenario, we will be we will be using transfer function approach in order to find the particular change in the input. But here no transfer function is needed. In static or steady state characteristics, the input is varying very slowly. So you can see here is that the input is varying very slowly with respect to time. So you can say that input is mostly constant. Input is mostly constant. So this is the static characteristics. There are few terms that you will encounter like span, you will encounter range, linearity, sensitivity, non-linearity, ideality, resolution, hysteresis. These terms are important terms. Like it, there could be few MCQs, MSQs, or even 1 mark or 2 mark numerical question could be asked in the exam. You are supposed to ask find the resolution of this particular sensor, or you can find the sensitivity, right? So let's start that few terms. Let's try to understand what all the terms are there. The first term is going to be range. The first term is going to be range. So range is what? Let's say if this is my temperature sensor, the same we are taking example of RTD. So let's assume that this RTD can sense the temperature from 0 degree Celsius to 100 degree Celsius, and it provides the output from 10 ohms to 50 ohms. Okay, so now if I will ask you what is the range of sensor? What is the range of sensor? So can you understand what is the range of sensor? Try to understand what is the range of sensor when input is varying from 0 degree Celsius to 100 degree Celsius, and the output is from 10 ohms to 50 ohms. Okay. Okay, so what is the range? The range itself is like the what is the input range? The input range is from 0 degree Celsius to 100 degree Celsius. This is going to be the input range. What is the output range? The output range is going to be 10 ohms to 50 ohms. So if somebody will ask you what is the range of the sensor. So you can define the range in terms of either input range or you can define in terms of output range. So definitions are here. Input range of an element is specified by minimum and maximum value of input. That is I mean to I max. So you can plot this side, it will be I, this side it will be O. So I mean, and this side it will be I max, this side will be O mean, this side will be O max. Okay. Similarly, you could be having span. What is the span? Span is the maximum variation in the input and output. In the previous example, we have taken that this RTD is varying temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, and the output is varying from 10 ohms to 50 ohms. Okay. So what is the span? Span is the maximum variation in the input. So what is the input span? What is the maximum variation? The maximum variation is 100 minus 0 is going to be 100 degree Celsius. So this is going to be the input span of RTD. Input span of the sensor, that is RTD. Now what is output span? The output span is the maximum variation in the output. What is the maximum variation? 50 minus 10, that is going to 40 ohms. 40 ohms. So this is going to be the output span of this sensor, correct? The next terminology is going to be linearity. Now, so linearity and non-linearity, so these two terms are there. So if somebody will ask you, or whether the particular element, whether the particular sensor you are using is linear or not, whether it is linear or non-linear, so how you will be able to find? It's better, or it's good to plot the characteristics of the sensor. So you can take two or three values of input, plot the corresponding output. If the input and output are lying on the same slope, same linear, then you can say that the sensor is a linear sensor, otherwise it is non-linear, correct? So same is captured here, same is captured here. So let's say for a particular input there could be two values, either minimum value or maximum value. Corresponding to this minimum value there is minimum output and maximum output. So if the curve is linear, if the curve is linear uh, hmm, okay, so if the curve is linear, then you can say that this sensor is linear, otherwise it is non-linear. Okay. Next term is going to be sensitivity. Sensitivity is, it is the change in the output for a unit change in the input. So in very easy terms, you can understand that how sensitive is the particular sensor is when you are changing the input to particular particular value, then how the change in output is taking place, right? In the previous example, what we have taken, the range of the sensor was from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, and the output was 10 10 ohms to 50 ohms. So if I will ask you, if the input is changing from 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius, what is the corresponding change in the resistance? So how you can calculate this? You can calculate by calculating the sensitivity of the particular sensor, correct? The last term is going to be hysteresis. Hysteresis is for a particular value of input, the output may be different whether input is increasing or decreasing. Let's take the example. Let's say you are starting from minimum value of the input here, from here, and you are reaching to the particular input here. So corresponding to this input, there could be particular output, and you will find the output as here. Again, when you are returning, this is the forward path. When you are returning from the maximum value to the particular input, what you are supposed you are expecting the same output, because for the particular input the output could be same na. So you are expecting the same output, but it's not happening. the output is very different from the expected value, and that expected value is far from the measured value that you are getting as this difference, and this difference we used to call as hysteresis. From the arrow sign you can see that when the input is increasing, output is one value. When the input is decreasing, output is one value, another value for the same value of the input, right? So output for particular value of input when input is decreasing, minus output for particular value of input when input is increasing. So this difference we used to call as hysteresis. Okay, so what we have covered in the static characteristics, that in the main concept behind the static characteristics is that the input is varying very slowly with respect to time, such that we are assuming that the input is mostly constant or DC value. But in the dynamic characteristics, the sensor will respond to sudden input changes. Like it could be step response, it could be impulse response, it could be sinusoidal response, like that. Okay. So how you can quantify these dynamic characteristics? So you have to find the transfer function. Now, how you can find the transfer function of the sensor? You can find the transfer. First, you have to do the mathematical modeling of the sensor. Then you can find the transfer function, and then with that transfer function you will apply the particular input. This could be varying with respect to time, and this could be sudden variation. This is the dynamic characteristics, that the element is responding very suddenly to the particular change in the input, right? So you have to find the transfer function, and then for a particular change in input you will calculate, you will find the output, and then you are going to plot, or you are going to analyze the particular response. So that is the dynamic characteristics. Like the example, the best example could be, what is the speed of the response? You might have studied in the control system or the signal system. This is the second order response. This is the second order response of the sensor. So from here, this is going to be settled part, right? This is going to be settled part, and this is comes in the transient part. So how fast the sensor is going to the settled part, this is one type of dynamic characteristics. This is one type of dynamic, means what is the speed of the response, how much error is there. So these terms are there that that comes under the dynamic characteristics of the sensor, right? So in the next lecture, we will take first order instrument, second order instruments, and then we will apply different type of inputs to calculate our dynamic characteristics, right? So we will apply step input, impulse response, impulse input, and sinusoidal input to calculate our output. First, we will model the particular sensor in terms of first order instrument, second order instrument, like which in which category it falls, correct? Okay, so on this note, we are ending the lectures, ending the today lecture. Dynamic characteristics we will continue in the next class. And what you have to study, the self-study that you have to do is this static characteristic terms. Make a note of these static characteristics terms, and take few examples, take few numericals, or you can take some dump data to understand, to plot the curves, and then you can it will be easy for you to understand those terms: range, span, linearity, non-linearity, hysteresis, sensitivity, resolution, etc., etc. So this you have to do in the self-study. You can refer JP Bentley book for the self-study. And on this note, we are ending the lecture. Our full course is already launched. We are having comprehensive coverage of all the topics, 60 plus lecture, interactive session, and one-to-one mentorship is there, assignment is there, weekly test, free early test series is there, and many more, right? So thank you. Like, share, comment. Thanks.